Thank you, Daryl. Well, actually, what we normally do is we just give it an acronym. So we just call it S3, Stantec, Sustainable Solutions. So that makes, although there's a big argument in our company whether it's S3 or S cubed, but we get into those arguments as we go through. So thank you very much for inviting me here. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to talk about, so I took a stab at it, and we'll go from there. The first statement I wanted to make was that climate change is real. And you can see that even right in our backyards. This is a picture I took 2 years ago. This is the Columbia ice field just outside of Jasper. I'm standing at 1942. This is where the ice used to be in 1942 when I was going to high school. Now, granted, that was a while ago. My dad and family would be at that parking lot there, and we would just go up that little hill and we'd have a snowball fight up there. You can see how far you have to go now just to get a snowball fight going and to get that set up. The second one I wanted to talk about is that human activity is responsible, and that's just a statement I'm going to make without anything further on that. But really what I want to talk about is the reason that we have overrun the planet and we have set so much up is not because we're very special. I mean, we've got no fangs, no claws, no venom in our bodies. You know, from a natural perspective, we're pretty unassuming animals. Our specialization really is the brain. And that's really where we have devised technologies that have allowed us to overrun the planet. It's the technologies that really make the difference between us and any other group. And further to that, it's the cultures. It's our ability, like in this room or in other places, to be able to talk together and to work as a culture, to share that knowledge, to make that stuff go further. And you know, when you look at the early cave people, they sat around the fireplace and they talked about how to best catch that animal, which berries not to eat, those type of things. And that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to kind of put that into your mind in terms of where we're coming from, in terms of Cleantech and the type of things to talk about. So when we started thinking about what is Cleantech, and Daryl and I had I think a fairly lengthy telephone conversation trying to figure out what it was. And at first I didn't really think there was anything at Stantec really that we do, because we're not really research people. We don't do that front end stuff and all the type of stuff that goes in there. But really, if you look at it as an ecosystem or as a forest, it's a lot of clusters, a lot of different things that come together. Some small, some big, some different, but they all work together in terms of putting that in. So that's the definition that I use to set that forward. And where Stantec really excels or puts things forward is the built environment. We see ourselves as having the knowledge to build the built environment. So that's, if you look at the city here, it's the roads, it's the waste treatment, it's the buildings, it's all those type of things that we build as a species and as a group of people to put together. And what I wanted to do here was in terms of how does Stantec work into Cleantech, and that's the reason I called it supporting innovation, is that what we do is we build the facilities that once the idea is there, once there's something to go, Stantec is able to put those pieces together. And quite often we get clients come up to us and say, I've got this great idea, what can Stantec do for us? And again, as was said earlier, where we make our money is, it depends. And ultimately we can do an awful lot for people to do it. And quite often it makes sense for somebody to come with a Stantec or a group similar to us with that kind of reach and expertise to bring that to the funding, so that you can say, I've got an idea, I know that we can make it happen, and we've got somebody like Stantec that knows how to make that piece of it happen. We bring our piece to there. So if you were to start looking at what can Stantec do for you, there are an awful lot of things. And what I'll do is I'll go through these type of things, and that's kind of going to be the bulk of my presentation in terms of the kind of things we do in these different areas. So I'll start with the strategic planning, and that's one of the things that we've discovered is that we're not just architects and engineers. That's not enough. You have to start with a plan. You have to do some groundwork. You have to kind of figure out where does it all fit into the larger group. And that's where we start to, we have people with 10,000 people throughout North America. We have experts, we have different people that can do these type of things. And we'll look at these things like you see on the, I don't know what side that is from here. The right side. That would be our, the kind of the building information modeling that we do that allows you to start looking at things and analyzing things far before you've even started to build it or to start to set it up. On the sustainable side, we've got financial people that look at the triple bottom line, where you look at 5 or 6 different options. You bring it down to 2, you bring it down to the preferable solution that you bring in. That's one of the first steps in terms from a clean tech, from a sustainability point of view. That's where you want to start. And the earlier you start that, the cheaper it's going to be, because it's pretty cheap for me to crunch up a piece of paper and throw it up. Once you've started pouring concrete and you want to start jackhammering it out, it's going to cost you a few dollars more to do that. Not that it's impossible, but it's not something I would recommend to do. Research. From our perspective, research is basically getting our people to think innovative and creative. So we do a lot of the literature research. We do that sort of thing to kind of see where is that knowledge. We also do building design. You probably recognize, most of you will recognize this as the Nanotechnology Institute at the U of A. We did the electrical on there. So we also do, from a support perspective, what people forget is that if you see behind the walls, behind the things, how much stuff goes to make these buildings work. And you're probably looking at as much space behind on big laboratories and that sort of thing than you get. And again, we set those type of things in place. The big fans there, I like to show that one. It's the one on the Health Research Innovation Facility at the U of A. Those fans are big enough because the facility is so large that they had to change the route of the helicopter around it because it'll blow it away if it happens to be on while they're going over top of it. That's the kind of things that nobody ever thinks about because you never see it. It's just on the roof, right? It's not something you have to worry about. We worry about that. Climate services. We are now very much involved in the greenhouse gas emission business and the being able to identify, quantify, and verify those type of gases and where they go. So again, the type of things that you want to look at is buildings. This is the Mazankowski Heart Institute. The one up top is a building in New York we did that has both wind and solar power. The little things up here are at are engines that collect the power from the landfill site, the landfill gas sites that we have, and turns it into green power. So those are the type of things that we get involved in. We know how to build those things, plan them, and put them together. For the building envelope, right now buildings probably account for 30, let's say a third of the greenhouse gases of the energy that's being used, probably closer to 60-70% of the electricity that is going on. So in a lot of cases, being able to build buildings that have a good envelope, have a good setup where the form follows the function sort of thing makes a big difference in terms of doing it. This is the Renzo Piano design in it's the San Francisco, the Science Academy building there, and it's got a green roof and it's got these cool lights on it, so you can see the skylights, which can be opened or provides light down into the building. So again, the outside and the inside work together if you do it right and creatively to set that up. Performance, very important thing within buildings and within different things. You can design as much as you like, but it really helps if you have somebody that knows how to operate it and knows how to do it efficiently and those type of things. Again, we can help people with those type of things.